When you make something, you're making for an audience, and the audience could just not give a shit about a brand's message. They couldn't care less. Couldn't care less about the points. They couldn't care. They just don't care. They don't want to be interrupted. They get that someone has to pay for it. So you got to think in a way that attracts that person, not detracts from that person's experience. You got to be really cognizant of your audience and not interrupting them and selling to them, and just be cool about it. There's 4 million podcasts, and yet there's 500 minutes of video going up on YouTube every second. Like, there's a glut of podcasts. There's a glut of everything. It originated like 20 odd years ago. Tech nerd wanted to deliver audio packets. The podcast term came about in like 2005. Apple really made it mainstream, but kind of started as like the Chumcast, which was two guys who were friends talking about something. You know, if you're getting more than 1,000 people listening to an episode, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts. The more successful shows hang around for a lot longer. Shows become very popular after 100 episodes and more. Every podcast has to be edited. Forget the equipment, it must be edited. You know, there's a heap of, I think while I speak. I'm an R a lot. I go all over the shop. I sound far better when I've edited myself for an hour or two than when I do on the live record. I think while I speak. I'm an R a lot. I go all over the shop. I sound far better when I've edited myself for an hour or two. So anything can be a podcast, but is everything a podcast? No. You can have that pamphlet now in audio form. That is not a podcast, that's an audio pamphlet. If you're doing an internal podcast, it could be town hall, weekly town hall, monthly, quarterly update, annual report, you're 3.5 times more engaged if you're just listening. You can hear it rather than have to read it via email. Audio can be embedded very easily on a website. It can be listened to on your phone, it can be listened to in your computer, in your car, at the gym, wherever you want. Don't think of it as a podcast. Think of it as a starting point for a content ecosystem. It's a much deeper conversation. So have that, build that community. We encourage people to think in series, not in one-offs. You need to be doing a strategy first. You don't want to jump straight into production. Again, you'll have wasted so much money if you just jump straight in. I would discourage anyone from seeing it in the high hundreds per episode. Low thousands as a starting point. A famous person making a podcast that does no promotion, it won't be listened to well. You've got to promote the show. You're trying to jump into their feed. And so to get into someone's audio feed, there's got to be a reason for them to want to do that. Rather than just doing an ad, like a radio ad, he interviewed the sponsor of the show, and then ads became really interesting. It's not like TV, it's not like film, you know, there's no algorithm and formula. That's something that hasn't quite been figured out. Affiliate marketing is working really well. I advocate sponsorship rather than CPM. Sponsorships will go anywhere from a couple grand an episode to a few more per episode. You're not getting anything for less than 10 grand. They're only just very much at the start of this media.